Let's start with the operations what we have seen in the last session here. Creating is nothing but allocating the memory, as actually this one is a part of the programming, but here I'll just show you the way how you allocate the memory. You can allocate the memory statically or you can allocate the memory dynamically. Create function. Static memory allocation. Specify the data type, name of the array with the size. An array of size 10 can be stored 10 integer values contiguously at the same side by side memory locations, or 10 integers you can store it. This is one way of allocating the memory. Another way of allocating the memory is int star a. How do you read this statement as? This instruction can be read in two ways. I can say a is a pointer variable which can store the address of an integer variable. That's what you usually see this particular one whenever comes asterisk as. Or another way of reading this same instruction as a is a one-dimensional array. How come? A is now going to store the address of an array, that is the address called as base address, what we have seen over here, the base address 200 example what we have seen, that will be stored in the array name A. How do you allocate the memory then? This is just the declaration of a pointer. Once I just declare a pointer variable will be created which occupies 2 bytes. Remember, pointer of any type, integer, character, void, any pointer type occupies 2 bytes of memory. Then I can allocate this particular one using C language or using C++. I'll show you both the ways here. In C language, you will be allocating the memory something like this. A is equals to, typecast it because malloc function returns a pointer of void type. Here it's going to be say int asterisk, which is going to use say malloc function. Based upon how much size you want it for that integer is say integer size, whatever the variable you have it, you specify the size over here, or you want to calculate the size, you can use size of operator. Size of integer, say for example, whatever the number of bytes integer occupies. Integer can occupy 2 bytes in some environment. In some environment, integer occupies 4 bytes, like that. If you want to calculate it by the operator, size of operator will calculate it. Based upon this one, how many memory locations you want it. Certain memory locations I want to allocate it. Malloc function allocates the memory dynamically, that is typecasted to store it in A. A is now going to be your pointer that is going to store the name of this, that is the address of this particular array. Another way of accessing it, this is going to be your C language syntax of allocating the memory. In C++, you can allocate the memory using new operator. New, say integer of what is the size. One advantage is there in C language is, instead of allocating the memory of one specific size, you can allocate the memory for templates also. That means that even you can have the memory allocation for templates like this. A, name of the array, new operator is used for allocating the memory. Instead of saying int, I can use a template name T that can specify the size. At runtime you decide what type of how much size you are going to specify it, and T is going to be template. This template declaration must be there at the beginning of this one. Say template class, any name you can use it. This name I am using it over here. This is going to be a template declaration. Class template, that I am using it as T over here. Instead of int, I am saying T. That is, its only difference is it's a generic data type. At runtime you can decide what data type value to be stored over there. So templates, on the other hand, other than your specific data type, this is something referred to be as generic data type. Here this int specify specific data type. Same way here also it is a specific data type. C++ have an option of template. You can use that particular option to allocate the memory. Either allocate it statically or allocate it dynamically by declaring it as a pointer. Both the languages, you have your syntax in front of you that will create an array of that much size, whatever you specified at runtime. Now comes the important operation that is said to be insert. If you have understood this particular operation insert with all possibilities, then you can easily understand the remaining concepts of your array ADT, that is arrays. Let's see here. I'll take an array same of 7 size. Just remove this. I'll assume some data elements in it. These are the some of the data elements what I have it currently. So the size of this particular array is 7. Even the length of this one is also 7. Can I perform any insertion into this particular array? Not possible, because all the memory locations are currently filled up with the data elements whatever we have. Assume that currently I have 2 empty memory locations such that I'll not change the contents of length to be 5, size remains 7 only, for which I have allocated the memory. Memory is allocated based upon the size. At each memory location I am going to store the integer that I have specified it while creating the array. Length is now going to be 5. Now tell me first of all how many data elements I can store it and what are the possible positions. 2 elements I can insert it, but let us try to insert it first time. Something like this. I want to insert, or I'll be calling the function something like this. I want to insert at position 4 one data element 100. Another time I'll call insert one data element 0 at say 20. Another time I'll call insert 8, 27. These are the operations I am calling it. First time when I call the function insert 4, 10, you remember there are 2 parameters while giving the ADT definition. I said that k is the position, and what is the second parameter? Second parameter is the element what we are going to insert it into this particular array. Now k is the position. K is the position. What is the position I am trying to insert it is 4. But already 4th position is occupied by some other data element where I cannot perform insertion. Do we have any other alternate solution? Yes, we have empty memory locations here. Can I insert 100 over here? No, I want 100 to be inserted at 4 only. Then what is the requirement? Can I make the remaining set of elements to move further? Yes. What are those set elements are? First of all, last element in the list will be moved to consecutive memory location such that I'll have 45 to be placed here. Next 3 is shifted over here. Then 3 element, that is -7, is shifted over here. Now that 4 location, that is 4 position is vacant now. Can I store 100 into this particular one? Yes, I can store it, provided you shift the remaining set of elements. Okay, that code we will see it. Done. Then is asking position insert 0, 20. Is this one should insert the element at which position? I have one empty memory location. Yes, I can shift the elements and I can adjust it. But what is the position asked by the user? Position is 0, whereas position always starts from 1, not from 0. That means that this sort of checking of condition, you have to do it. That means that whatever position user is passing it, make sure that it is a valid position. If it is valid, then only perform the insertion process. If it is invalid, give a message to the user that it is invalid position. Coming it to this particular part, inserting into some 8th position. What is the size of the arrays? Size of the array is 7, but we are trying to insert the element at 8th position. Can we insert it? No. How many elements currently I have over here? If after inserting 100, the length is now going to be 6. I can perform insertion at 7th position, no problem. But what is asked by the user is 8th position, which is again an invalid position. That means I have to check the range of the position. That is it valid range or invalid range? Anything that falls below 1, anything that falls beyond length is said to be invalid. Otherwise, it is a valid position. Then what we have to do is shift the set of elements and insert the element and it's in that particular position. Let us see the code for that one, how we can do it. First thing, whatever the position user has passed it as a parameter, we have to check whether it is valid or invalid. So let us say, for example, if I am writing down one function called as insert function. Insert function taking how many parameter? I know it is going to be one as integer parameter k, and another one say integer parameter say element I want to insert. First condition what I have to check over here is it a valid position or invalid position? Say 4. Does 4 is a valid one or invalid one? Yes. Then how many valid condition I should check? Instead of checking for valid position, I'll check for invalidity. Invalidity checking is very easy. Less than 1, greater than length. Anything fall beyond this range is invalid. Anything that comes in between is a valid one. So better you check it something like this. If the position given by the user is less than 1 or operator, anything which is greater than current length is 6. 6 plus 1 also valid. That is 7th position is also valid. So can I say anything greater than length plus 1 is said to be invalid? Yes. Current length is 6. 6 plus 1 is 7. Anything greater than 7 that comes over here as 8. 8 is greater than 7. Yes, it is invalid. Now you say give a message to the user that it is an invalid position. If it is invalid position, you can't proceed further. So you just say return. Can't continue since it is invalid position. Let us assume if it is not invalid position, if it is valid position, what should I do? I should start shifting the elements. Which element is shifted first? Is 45. 45 is at that particular time there were 5 elements. What was the value of length at that time is 5. And 45 is located at which index? 4, which is shifted from index 4 to index 5. Then again move. That is decrement your index. I'll take one index, say I. I starting from 4. 4th element or 4th index element is moved to 5th index element. Then 3rd index element is moved to 4th index element. I'll stop this process over here. That means that whatever position user has given, what is the position user has given? 4. 4 minus 1, that is position minus 1. I have reached. So stop moving the element. Insert the element at that position. Now inserting an element, that we will see. But first of all, I have to shift the elements. Now shifting of element is a repetition process. It can be 2 elements, it can be 4 elements, it can be 20 elements also. That means that I have to shift the elements within an iteration or a loop. That loop can be a for loop or that loop can be a while loop. I'll start. Which element to be shifted first? I know it is the 45th, 45. 45 is located at index 4. What is the current length? I'll just say here, starting from length minus 1. I'll start. Whether I has to be incremented or I has to be decremented. I have to move from 4 to 3. Isn't it? So fourth element is moved to fifth index element. Then third index element has to move to 4. To get it next one, I have to decrement this particular value. I has to decrement. What is the terminating condition? That we will see the terminating condition here. First you shift the elements. How do you shift it? You have an array name A, that is A. Whatever be the current position of I is there, you move it to which location? I plus 1. 4 is moved to 5. 3 is moved to 4. I is moved in general to I plus 1. I'll just remove this flower braces because only one single statement is there that has to be repeated. How many times? When this one k value, what is the k value we have is? Current k value is 4. So this particular position I have to insert this 100. So till I greater than, I is greater than k minus 1, greater than or equals to k minus 1, I'll say. That means that k minus 1 is what? 3. Until I get 3, I have to reduce the value. Until I greater than or equals to k minus 1, I am decrementing. After the completion of this for loop, 45 is placed in its correct position, minus 7 is placed in its correct position. Now I have to insert 100 in this particular position. I'll say A of, what is the k value passed by the user? 4. So you have to say k minus 1 is equals to the element whatever user has passed it as parameter. I'll insert it. Then after inserting it, I have to increment the value of length by 1. That is from 5. Now I got the elements as 6. This will be the general code that works for any insert operation. Let it be valid position, let it be invalid position. If it is written here, I need not provide else part. If condition is true, it prints a message to the user, return, takes the control back to the calling function. You need not provide else. Automatically, if the condition is false, what is the next statement to be executed? Is for loop only. So need not give else. If you give else also, it's a waste of code, you can say. Inefficient code, it is something referred to be as. So whenever make a point of it, return statement is there. There is no such use of your else part. That we will see it with one more operation, how it is useful. This one is the code for your inserting an element at kth position. Actually, this flower braces will be coming after length incremented. It is here. So this flower braces ends here. This flower braces is here. No need for flower braces because there is only single statement within the for loop, and this statement is not a part of for loop. As you can see, this statement is a part of for loop. This statement is not a part of for loop. The way I have written the code is something referred to be as indented program. Very well indented one. How it is very well indented? Starting flower braces, closing flower braces. If condition starting, closing, there is a tab over here, there is a tab over here. For loop, there is a tab. This lines comes in within the same way. So you can write down a program within the same line also. It will execute, it will compile, it will 100% execute. There is no need for giving this much spaces like this. One tab is used, another tab is used, another tab is used, like that. But this type of writing programming, that is indented program, is easy for debugging, will help you in clearly understanding what part of code belongs to which statement. These two statements belong to if, this statement belong to for loop. These statements are not part of any loop, neither if condition nor for loop. So you can see it's independent one. And here starts function, here ends the function. This is the way usually we write it down, indented program. Most of the companies will see whether your program is properly indented or not. So make sure that you have the code that is indented one. Let's go for the next one. Next function in the list is delete. I'll just manipulate or change the contents of the array. One more important point here is when we move the contents, it's actually overwritten. Contents are overwritten one above the other. Like that, we want to delete also. Physical deletion of elements does not take place in array. Array itself you have to remove it from the memory, then only that elements will be gone from the memory. Otherwise, that elements will be there in the memory unless and until you deallocate the memory. Let's see some more elements over here. 75 minus 8 and say 20. These are the set of elements. I'll assume it. Let's see delete operation. Quickly we will see this particular one. Since you are already aware with insert operation. Delete operation again does not pass any parameter as element, but it will be considered as a reference parameter. How it is done? Let us see here. Void delete there is a small difference between this delete and if I use this delete. This is a keyword used for deallocating the memory when new operator is used, like we have seen in C++. New operator is used for allocating the memory. Delete is the keyword. You cannot use it for user defined purpose, so it should be avoided. Capital D is the name given to the name of a function. It's a user defined name. Ampersand over here specify it's a reference parameter. What is the meaning for reference parameter? Initially it is empty. Whatever value it takes in the function, the same value you can access it from the calling function. Say I am calling this one from main function. This is my main function. Assume that this is going to be the code in the main function. From main function, if I call something like this, delete some 2 comma element, where I'll declare this element in the main function before using it. I'll be declaring this one in the main function. So I assume that my main function is here. Some code like this. There are 6 elements over here, so I'll be having length is equals to 6. Let's see, currently element we are not passing any value. Whatever the element that is available at second position, what is the element that is currently available at second position? So first of all, we need to check whether user has passed a correct value or not. Like we have seen in the last example, instead of this, if user would have asked something like this, then what we should do? Say for example, -2 comma element. Is -2 is a position? No, not a valid position, I can say. Delete from 7 comma element. Again, there is no element currently available at 7th position, because there are 7 positions, memory locations are there, but 6 are occupied, 7th is vacant. This is again an invalid one. -2 is again an invalid one. That means the first thing what we need to check is whether the given input k is a valid one or not. You say k less than 1 or k greater than. Now this time k greater than means what? I want to delete 6th position element. Yes, I can delete 6th position. 7th position I can't delete. So what user is asking for? 7th position. Is it a valid one or invalid one? It's an invalid one. That means k value simply greater than length. There what we have seen in your insert one, k greater than length plus 1, because there is a possibility of inserting an element at this position. Plus 1 we are checking it for that one. That comes to be invalid one. Hope the difference is same thing. I can give a message to the user without further proceeding. I'll say invalid position and I need not continue. I just say return. If I just return, I need not execute the remaining part. But let us assume k value is 2. Yes, k value is 2. What should I do? Can I delete 35? Yes, I can delete 35. Simply copy down this 35 in a variable called as element. That you can access it in the main function by saying that yes, this so and so element has been deleted for that particular purpose. Say for example, in a class from one year to another year, some student gets detained. Their names has to be removed from the roll list. That particular number, if I want to delete, then I want to know which roll number got detained or which student got detained. That application wants to know. So whenever I'm calling that function delete is performing its job. Done, no problem. 35 is deleted. But whenever I want to know that which element got deleted, I may not be able to know which element got deleted. For that purpose, I am using reference parameter here. Copy down the element. That element can be accessed in the application. That is your main function. You can display or you can perform any other operation you want to do with that particular element. That is the significance of your reference parameter. Let us see what should I do first. I have to copy down 35 into a variable first of all. So I'll just use element is equals to a of, what is the position passed is 2, but available index is 1. So I'll say I'll use that formula based representation FBR, location of I is equals to I minus 1, k minus 1. I got element 35 in this particular variable. After getting it, what I have to do is I got this empty memory location logically, not physically. Logically, I assume that this is empty memory location. What should I do then? I should copy down 90 here, then 75 here, then -8 here, then 20 here. How long shall I continue? I should continue till I reach the last element using length. Where from we have started? We have started from index 2. That index 2 you will get it from here, k. That position element you move it index such that until you reach the last element position. Let us do it. We have copied down the element. Yes, 35 we got it in a variable. Now the thing is we have to shuffle the elements. In insertion we have moved it into right positions. In deletion we have to occupy the vacant memory location. That is 90 is to be occupied into second memory location. 75 here, -8 here, like that the elements are going to be copied. Let's use a iteration or a for loop for doing so. For I is equals to starting indexes. What should be the starting index? 2. 90 has to be moved. That 2 you will get it from this parameter k. that one is your k you will start. Let us give the terminating condition later. I have to increment the value of I or decrement it, that I have to decide it first. I is currently placed here. Then I is moved to 3. That means it is incremented. From 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 to 6. I don't know how long until you reach this particular one. So I has to be incremented, or index variable has to be incremented. Let's see the terminating condition. What will be the terminating condition? How long shall I terminate it? First of all, let's move. 90 should be moved from 2 to 1. That means that a of I minus 1 assigns a value of a of I. A of 2 is moved to a of 1. A of 3 is moved to a of 2. A of 4 is moved to a of 3. Like that the elements are moved. How long shall I continue? The value of I less than. This is the last element moved, index 5, that is length. Length is 6. Currently there are 6 elements. Once you have deleted it, now you make that is length to be minus minus. Now this completes it. If you see this code and focus it, you can easily detect what is happening here. Starting return type of a function, name of a function, takes 2 parameters, one as a position, another one as a reference parameter here. This reference parameter, whatever value this variable is getting, say 35, this one for example, our example 35, I am assuming the same 35 can be accessed here now. This variable will get 35. I can print, I can make use in some other application this particular data. So that is the significance of your reference parameter. What this for loop is doing? For loop is shuffling or moving the set of elements to fill up the empty memory location what we have. Earlier we have inserted it. Before inserting, we have make a room for it. That's why we have moved the element first. Then we have inserted next. Now we are deleting it first. Then we are adjusting the set of elements later. At the end, decrement the value of length such that we got 5 elements in our hand currently instead of 6 elements. This is the code for your delete operation. Hope the code is clear. Take 1 minute time to just continue the next operation. Let's have the next operation. Let's assume the same set of 6 elements are there. I assume 35 is already there. Length is equals to 6. Size is 7. Let's keep this one as it is. Now, the next operation in the list is find. Find also takes two parameters. One is the position. Another one is a reference parameter, what we have already seen. In delete operation, same thing we will do it, because I know the position, but I don't know what element is available at that particular position. So I want to know what is the element that is available at third position. Third position 90 is there. Give a reference in the function that can be accessed from the calling function. Hope the concept is for reference function is clear. Let us move on to the operation. Return type. Say for example, if user is calling this particular function find with operations like this, parameters as say 8 comma element, even 7 also fails, you know, because how many elements are there currently? There are 6 elements. Even user can ask for 0th position also, but 0th position, it's not a valid position. I'll now have a return type for this one as a boolean. If it is supported by the programming language, otherwise you can use integer, return 0 or 1. If programming languages support true or false boolean data type, you can declare it. Find is the name of the function taking two parameters, one as the position, another one as the reference parameter, in which you get the element what is available at so and so position. Check whether the position provided by the user is a valid position or invalid position. I hope you got it now by this time, how to check for invalidity. That I am not going to do it now here. You know what is the condition, what is the messages and all. You give it over here. Same thing. If it is less than 1, greater than the length, it is invalid. I'm not interested in that particular invalidity. So let us forget about this code you have already came across. Let us see if the position is valid. For example, 3. 3 is a valid position. Yes, 3 is a valid position. And one more thing. Here we return, not only return, we just say return false. That is the one difference. Because it's expecting a boolean return type, either true or false. False in the sense, if it is invalid, yes. If it is invalid, enter the block, then do it. I'll write down the code for your easy clearance, clear understanding. K greater than length. Then you give a message to the user, invalid position, false. I'm returning false over here for the purpose that position passed by the user is invalid. Let us say if it is valid, automatically the next statement will be executed and element will be assigned a value passed by this particular position -1. Your formula, location of I is equals to I -1. Given a position 3, index is 2, so converted with k -1. I got the element 90, but I should return simultaneously the true condition because this is a valid position. I got correct element. If it is invalid, this is executed. Otherwise, these two set of statements will be executed. Hope the concept of find is clear. These are the set of block of code what I am showing you to develop your programming skills. We will see again how to go to some complex code also. When we see some operations, some more operations, some complicated operations, then how this code can be again elaborated. So if I directly give you some big code, you may not be able to follow it. So we will be seeing it through some small operations. So this is going to be your find operation. I hope this one is fine. Let's move on to the next operation in the list is search. Search for parameter search takes is the element. I know, say for example, if we have entered a classroom and I know the name of a person, but I don't know where exactly that person is sitting, or I know the roll number, but that roll number student might be sitting in first bench or second bench or third bench, any order he can sit it. Earlier problem of find is I know the position, but I don't know what element is available at that particular position. So what we have done, we have gone to that particular position and extracted the element, isn't it? But here exactly opposite one. Situation is different. Element you know the element, but where it is located in the array you don't know. It can be located into first position, second position, third position, like that. Nth position it can be located. It cannot be located also. It might not be available in the array. That particular scenario is something referred to be as unsuccessful search. Otherwise, your search is successful. You return the position where the element is available. Let us see how search works. Possibilities of having search to work is I may be searching for 75, I may be searching for 22, I may be searching for 20. Within this one possibility is there where search may be terminating unsuccessfully. That possibility is the second one. 22 is not there in the array. So what search we applied over here? There are three possibilities of applying a search: linear search, binary search, or hashing technique. The simplest among all this one is your linear search. Sequentially we perform a search. Let us see it. If it is available, return its position. That means that return type will be integer. Name of a function is search. Takes a parameter, say integer type. Name of the variable, say element. Entering it. Whatever element user has given to search in this particular array, and or you can pass another parameter as array also, but I assume is array is a global variable which can be accessed in all the functions. Okay, for time being let us concentrate on the logic rather than concentrating on the number of parameters. Say here element 75. How do you start search? Go to the index 0, compare 75 with 24. Is it there? No. Increment the value of I. Is it there? No. Increment the value of I. Is it there? No. Increment the value of I. Yes, it is there. Terminate the search here itself. Without further proceeding for the next comparison, you can terminate the search here itself. For doing so, what you can do is, say for example, I am searching it for an element, say 24. 24 is searched. Within one comparison only I got it. That is your best case possibility. Do I need to search the remaining set of elements? Imagine an array of size 100, 200, 300. I need not compare the remaining set of elements. Just one comparison, I got the result. Terminate the search there itself. So the procedure for that one, simply what you do is you take a flag variable or you declare an integer variable by any name to be 0. Whenever we find an element, you change the status of that particular flag from 0 to 1. Let us see your search process, how it is done. For I is equals to 0, that is from the first element, I start comparing it until I reach this position or this position. This position is given by length and this position is given by size. Array size can be 100, but elements can be 50 only. Array size can be 200, elements can be 200 also. That is specified by the length. So you process it until you reach the last element in the array, not the last location. I++. What we will do here is, if element whatever user has passed it as parameter. I'll consider capital E over here because it's passed as parameter, is matching with A of the ith index, whatever I value we are having it. If it is so, assuming that there is a match. If there is a match, immediately you change the status of the flag from 0 to 1. I found the element. I found 24 at the first instance. What should I do? I need not continue my loop. I just say break. Break will take the control out of the loop in which it is specified. Yes, we come out of the loop and we check what is the status of the flag is. Is the status of the flag still remains to be 0? If it is still remains to be 0, that means that you give a message that element not found. We haven't entered the block, so element not found here. Otherwise, else means what? Its status is not 0. Other than 0, yes, 1. 1 means it's false. False means else part will be executed and you will be having a message to the user that found, element found. This is one of the logic that is basically applied for terminating the loop without further proceeding it. Or one more logic is also there where what you can do is, instead of, okay, one more important thing is I'll be using integer as a variable here, but I'm not returning any value. In this particular scenario, for our case, I'll be using void return type because I'm not returning any value. Let us say, instead of saying break and changing the status of the flag, I can even say return the position. This is one way of doing it. Another way of doing it is something like this. Instead of taking flag status, I'll just say integer return type, searching for the element over here. Same for loop, I'll start it. For I is equals to 0, I less than length, I plus plus, I'll continue my search. If there is a match here, say for example, if the element what we are searching is matched with any one of the element here, what should I do is simply return that particular position. Say for example, 24 I am searching. What is the index? 0. Return what? Position is 1. Index is 0. So what should I do? I'll increment the value of I first, then I'll return it. That's why I'm using it pre-increment over here. Or I can say return I plus 1 also. One value is to be added, or if pre-increment I can use it. Say for example, if it is a situation matches, then you are terminated. Otherwise, what should I return? Return -1. Or even you can return 0 also, because there is no 0 position. What we are returning for the best case, 24. 24 matches with index 0. 0 plus plus means what? 1. 1 is returned. But 0 returns means unsuccessful search. This return is for unsuccessful search and this return is for successful search. Anyone you can implement it, either this version of using flag status or using the position also we can implement it. Hope the concept of search is clear.